Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time. Welcome everybody. Happy Sunday night to you. I am Ryan, or you can call me Tales of Valhalla, or you can just call me Tails, as I'm liking to call myself now. Welcome to the ToV podcast tonight. Hopefully you don't have any internet issues. There could be, hopefully not. But yeah, so this is one of the last podcasts we're going to be doing for basically the summer. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. We are going to do some rapid fire round of looking at some squads and heroes, as well as discussing in the second half ScapeCon 3, some of the events, how to build armies for them. I also want to take a look at some of the maps too for ScapeCon 3. Some of those are very interesting. But with me tonight are Garenex, Mr. Paul, welcome to the stream again. It's been a while since I've seen you guys together. It was like last year, I think you guys first came on.
Last fall, because it was still during AOA.
Yeah, exactly. And then, no stranger to the podcast, we have Ken, Matthias Maccabeus. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Good morning.
Excellent. And we might have a couple other people hop on later. I know one or two might be running a little bit late, but what we're gonna do tonight again. Oh, and let me address a comment. We got Vaultners 336 there in the chat saying Spider's my favorite squad. And we might discuss that because I know there were a couple Spider armies in ScapeCon last year. So we might discuss that. And it also says, anyone else feel like the Morrow are the main villains of Heroscape? Well, from a storytelling perspective, yes, I would say so. They're a very unique race. Definitely, no other place are there Morrow. So yeah, definitely unique. But how about we get started here? I always gotta check this. Yeah, I did that. So yeah, I'm good. Okay. I need a checklist. That's why Joe Crazy does it for me every time we do a podcast. But yeah, so it's great to have you guys on. So again, it's kind of like Casters of Valhalla and Tales of Valhalla kind of mixed in together tonight. So good to have you guys on.
Tales of Casters.
You know what? We might have to talk about that in the future. How about we start doing some rapid fire rounds talking about some squads and heroes? Let me see. Let me bring these up. So first one we're going to talk about tonight is the Book of Arkmer, who is an elf. And so your general is Ular, depending on how you pronounce it. Elf, unique hero, wizard, tricky, medium 5. Has 3 life, 5 spaces, move, 5 spaces range, attack of 4, defense 2. And Vaultners 336 says, I do like weak support elf heroes. Defense of 2, yeah, a little weak defense, but 50 points. So your special ability is, when defending with Arkmer, add as many defense dice as the number of elves you control adjacent to Arkmer. An engagement strike 13. If an opponent's small or medium figure moves adjacent to Arkmer, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 13 or higher, the opponent's figure receives 1 wound. Figures may be targeted only as they move into the engagement with Arkmer. I'm spelling that right. So, what are our thoughts about this? Because I know, I think from my study of the elves or the elves miniatures in Heroscape, they tend to go together. They don't really usually bond with others. Is my assessment? Is that pretty much true when it comes to that assessment?
It's not really bonding necessarily, but you've got Olganesh, which
wizards, yeah.
you put your order markers on Olganesh, and then he can take a turn with 2 elf wizards. Is that what it is?
Yep. Up to 2.
Pull Olganesh over here. Yeah. Mind Link. Instead of taking a turn with Olganesh, you may take a turn with up to 2 different elf wizards you control.
And Arkmar is an elf wizard.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are going to build your elf wizard build, you want to add him. I mean, for 50 points, he hits pretty hard. For a 50-point hero, an attack of 4 from height, obviously, attack of 5, range 5. I mean, 5 range isn't great, but it's better than 1 range. And staff of however you say that word.
Lurkington
is pretty nice. It's a little bit of an anti-melee, and then obviously his bonus of +2 defense, plus 1 defense per elf next to him, really helps him,
defend himself.
In a Warrior of Ashra build, or even Arkmar plus Quintella Gwyn here for 70 points is a nice little combo because that puts him up to 4 defense. It's a little bit of order marker intensive if you're trying to move Quintella up with him. So, but a lot of times, in the reverse the whip armies, Paul and I have been testing for ScapeCon. I have an Arkmar Quintella Gwyn, I think in 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
So it's about just kind of maybe putting him as a roadblock at the spot, and then spin an order marker on Quintella Gwyn. It's my favorite thing to do because I like to I put a lot of emphasis on development when I play Heroscape, and to me it's kind of like taking a turn off to do that. But he's not a bad figure. I mean, in 2010, for day 2 of Gen Con, my opponent, it was a reinforcement roll. My opponent knew I was playing a bunch of knights, so he picked Arkmar for his reinforcement roll, and he got his engagement strike off 4 times and killed 4 of my knights.
Oh, wow.
I ended up losing that game. So, I mean, yeah, for 50 points, I think Arkmar is a very, very solid hero. I mean, got a little bit of the Scottie Pippen syndrome with Meeberg Saab being there for 50 points and the Mara Warriors being there for 50 points. But obviously, thematically...
If you're not running elves.
Correct. Correct. Actually, even if you're running 5 squads, let's say you're running 4 squads of Warriors Ashra for 50 points, maybe Meeberg Saab is still better. I don't know. That's an interesting question.
I guess I'm thinking if you're not running elf wizards.
Sure. Right. For an elf wizard build, I think you always want to put Arkmar in there for 50 points. He hits pretty hard.
He's good at the front of the pack, obviously, with his engagement strike, 13.
Yeah, he's pretty fragile. 3 life, 2 defense. Can fall pretty easily.
But again, he's engaged to Quintella Gwyn. But Quintella Gwyn, that's automatically 4 defense right there. Because he gets a bonus being engaged to her, and she gives him 1 more.
Adjacent.
So, adjacent.
Now, I have some questions in the chat. Thank you, Vault Nurse, for commenting. I guess, talking about ugliness. I always say ugliness, but ugliness, I think.
Ugliness.
Yeah. That's the hero on the Pegasus. Is that true?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
And,
I think engagement strike 13. That's better than both the Greater Ice Elemental, unless he's on snow or whatever, and then the Nikita agents. So.
Yeah, no, it's those are 2 very good abilities for defense as well as attack. And Vault Nurse also asks, Gwyn is the defense aura elf, correct?
Correct. She gives +1 defense to all adjacent or elf wizards.
No, elves.
Just that, yeah. All friendly elves adjacent to her at +1 to defense.
Okay. Now, my question would be too for someone who's just getting started with Heroscape and is looking to find specific armies they like, and if they like elves, and it comes to purchasing or trying to find ways to purchase different miniatures. Even if they favor elves over, like you said, Mara, like a Mara army, what do you think would be the cheaper, better option?
Cheaper price wise, or cheaper army building wise?
I'd say both. I mean the cost for money, and as well as points.
Paul will be a better expert on how much Heroscape costs nowadays. I haven't really purchased Heroscape in a long time, so.
I was just gonna Google. So a bunch of the elves come together in one pack. I think there's 5 of them in there: Olganesh, Arkmar, Jordan, and Junk. What's it? Emerald. They come together in one pack. These aren't terribly expensive since it's an all unique hero pack. So they're not going to go for terribly high. You really kind of want, who isn't included, Chartis?
Yeah, I don't think you need Chart. I don't want to rabbit trail too much. But if you're going to make an elf wizard army, you really need Raylan.
Sure.
That's one of the few times. I'm not a huge Raylan fan, but elf wizards and Mohicans are the 2 times I would say you need to play Raylan.
Okay. Gotcha. Now let me just dive into the lore, because there is a little bit of a character bio here on Heroscapers. It says, it's a Heroscape character bio. The Order is of one mind. Power freely flows from one into the other as they lend their strength to each other's magic. Such strength now surges through Arkhammer's body and into his staff. The ancient magic of Lurkinton stored their pulses outward in waves. The wolves dive forward, biting and slashing, but their attacks fall flat against the power of the Lurkinton. Arkhammer cuts the charging wolves down one by one as they approach. Jordan and her father Chardris rain fire down among the advancing wolves. An inferno ignites around them. It is not enough. The wolves are endless in number, and even more troublesome, they don't seem to be dying. The elves slash and stab with swords and spells, but there is no blood. No feral cries of pain. Their swords and their magic meet with only air. Their attackers vanish before the killing blows can land. Some strange new magic is at work here. And I know if Jeremy were here, I'm sure he would explain this a little bit better, and he probably will in future segments when we talk more about, because there's more elves to talk about here. But I think that is a sequence of events that happen before they're taken to Valhalla.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Is that talking about the wolves of Bedru or the werewolves? The Nubian wolves.
Yeah, I think it's the Nubian wolves. Yeah.
Nubian wolves. Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just Googled the elves on eBay. You can get a new one box, which I showed for 66 basically with shipping. Is the lowest for all 5 of them, but not terrible for a new one box anymore, but still up there a little bit for 5 figures.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, if I'd say let's see here, if elves are your favorite army and you're just getting Heroscape and you want something that you'd want to take to a tournament too, rather than just your common army. I mean, Maras are fine. There's lots to do with them. But if you want to do something like this, if you want to spend a little bit, I mean, their points value for building an army, I think is fair, right? Is it fair also in Delta points as well?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'd have to look up the chart.
Right.
I mean, the problem with the elf wizards is the problem with the elves is you got the elf wizards, you've got the warriors of Ashra, who are good in the right circumstance. Whether that be warriors of Ashra are probably a pretty solid draft unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to bring into bringing blind into a tournament, a straight up tournament, it's kind of hard to know, because if you're playing against
range heavy armies,
5 squads of 4th mass and you have warriors of Ashra, it doesn't matter.
That's
and then
true.
the Aubrey and Archers are very luck based with the frenzy.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they don't have the elf wizards are out of the 3 of those in a regular tournament, not like a draft or some sort of feature where you're kind of picking armies based off of what your opponent picks. The elf wizards are probably the strongest of those 3, and they're not really that strong. You're C+ level maybe at the most, maybe B-.
Okay.
So if you got a B+ and under tournament or something, the elf wizards could definitely be worthwhile. But is Swarm of the Morrow Raylan? What grade is she? Do you remember? Because if it's B+ and under, then you can't have Raylan.
Yeah.
But
So I think that's the problem with the elves. Really, is they're pretty cool, and that's kind of it.
yeah, they're very thematic. It's fun to be able to. Generally, your 2 attackers, and again, not to dive too far into it, or I would say would generally be Chardis, because he's got a.
You won't pick
range sick attack 2.
You want Arkmore over Chargers.
Okay, whatever.
You like Jordan because of the explosion.
Because the explosion, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but those are figures you'll obviously get to
I mean,
eventually.
if you have room for both, sure. but you would pick if you had to pick. You would pick Arkmer.
Sure, if you can only pick one. Yeah. I was figuring if you.
Sure, if you have room for both, you go for both. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's like circumstantial. Warriors of Ashra and Arkmer is actually pretty decent against melee armies. Like he could be a good counter draft. In fact, he's in one of the ScapeCon pools for the championship draft on Sunday. He's in the Jandar pool. Mike and I put him in there actually Mike put him in there for some reasons, and we kept him in there because it has some good synergies against the knights and stuff. So.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll move on to another unit or another hero or unit or sorry, my mind, unit in a minute. But just to see combinations and synergies, like I said, it's just all elves: Aklara, Emeron, Gwen, Ulgrinish. I always say Uglinish. I don't know. That's my brain. Chardris, Otanashi. I mean, Otanashi actually is one. That's kind of like a synergy, and there's also a few.
Tricky? They got a tricky.
Yeah, tricky. Yeah, tricky.
Oh, well, I mean, sure.
Yeah, tricky speed.
If you're using Otanashi, you're losing the game. Like,
let's see here. And there's some synergy with like C3V as well. So just anybody who's interested in using this, I mean, it is a choice, and we might want to take a look. Just go to the books of Heroscape, check the miniature out, check its stats, see what it can link with, and see what you can build with it if that's what you want to choose. And so here, Vault Nurse, I know Vault Nurse has some comments here. Before we wrap this one up, Aubrian Archers and Warriors of Ashra are good, expensive though. Yeah, most everything's going to be kind of expensive. I mentioned Sonlin and Vault Nurse. Cool, I love the lore. Yeah, we try and kind of mix the lore of the miniature, but as well as the gameplay of the miniature. That's what we try to do here in ToV Live.
Sonlin's not a wizard, so that's unfortunate. He's like an archmage, battle mage or something.
Yeah, so right. You can't use him with Olganesh, but he is a fantastic figure.
Yeah, yes.
A little expensive points wise,
I wouldn't
but
use the word fantastic.
He's a fun figure. I'll put it that way. You're rolling lots of D20s.
Yes, that's fun. I agree with that statement.
So it's one of those figures. He's great when he works, and you get your dragon healing and your dragon swoop, but he's also incredibly frustrating when you're not getting your D20 rolls.
For sure. And I'll have Vault Nurse close Arkmer out by saying I agree that the elves make up one of the best thematic armies. And yes, for sure. I mean, if you're looking for something thematic, if you're looking for something that's just plain fun, look up Arkmer and the other elf wizards, and I'm sure we'll be talking about the other heroes, the other elf heroes and units in the future.
Well,
all right.
Yeah. Whenever I'm starting a new player, I like to give them like Aubrians and Arkmer because there's just they're kind of like when they get to go again with Frenzy, they love that, and Arkmer's got some minor synergies there, like a lot of that. I think Arkmer is a good kind of first figure for people to kind of learn the game with because the synergies aren't difficult to sort out, and just giving a good feel for how Heroscape is played.
Absolutely, and yeah, Vault Nurse said I thought he was a wizard, but he lacks the key word, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Sharwin.
Oh, okay. Sharwin Wildborn. Yeah. Anyway, all right. What's next?
All right, next, and I know this is rapid fire. I don't know how many we're going to get through tonight because I am timing it because I know we have a time limit.
If we only get a couple, that's all right.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So now these are fun ones. The Armok Vipers. So we're going to take a look at these.
Differently.
Say what?
We define fun differently, you and I. No. I mean, the idea of the Armok Vipers is very good. The problem is the guy they bond with, they have no synergies with, right? The Warlord synergies are with Scouts,
right? Frenzy
units, and these guys are neither. It would be very cool if there was more Ular Warlords to choose from, except for the one. Especially because what's cool about the Vienok Warlord, sometimes I never know like if we should talk about Armoks, whatever. But anyway, what's cool about the Beanock Warlord is he actually bonds with the Romans and the Death Knights. There's 3 different ways to work him in, and actually he's in. Once again, I'm talking about the Beanock Warlord. He's in the scout. He's in the scout pool for ScapeCon championship draft. But so are the Armoks are in there too, along with the Death Knights, and there's no Romans, but so they are in there. So like, I think these guys are just outclassed by other melee bonding. The one thing that they have that others don't have, minus the spiders, is their 7 move.
Right. And
7 move. 7 move is, I think, move is a very underrated stat in Heroscape, and I had a conversation with Veggie one time about this. I think one of the reasons we overlooked that is because of the Death Reavers exist. Because with Death Reavers existing, a lot of time your movement's limited because of how they lock down the board. So you overlook things like 7 move because it doesn't really matter when the whole board's locked down. But in a world where Death Reavers aren't super prevalent, I think like the 7 move, like with the spiders as well, it is very key. That's like I always say in melee bonding, the best glyph for you is the move glyph. So, but these guys kind of have a built-in move glyph. So I think their best stat is definitely their move. And the Beanock Warlord's not trash. He's a solid hero. He just doesn't do anything for these guys.
And with Slither, like a lot of maps are built where the glyphs might be behind water or whatever, and with their Slither they can just go right over that. There's supposed to be glyphs somewhere. I think here.
Okay, so water wouldn't
affect it on this one.
Okay. Well, how about I read the stat card for these guys and?
My bad. Did I jump ahead?
Oh no, you guys are all fine. You're all fine. No, and I just
backwards, but I'll throw it up there.
I just comment to the listening audience too. If you hear any singing in the background, I think that's my wife singing Phantom of the Opera, but just go with it. It's all good. So okay, the Book of Armok Vipers. Okay, let's see here. Uller is the general. They are, of course, Vipers, Common Squad, Protectors, Relentless, Medium 5. Their special ability is Ular or Ular, Warlord Bonding. Before taking a turn with Armok Vipers, you may first take a turn with any Warlord you control who follows Uller. And
it's only
the Beanock Warlord.
Yep, and Slither. Armok Vipers do not have to stop their movement when entering water spaces, which is, it can be important. Have 1 life, can move 7 spaces, range 1, attack at 3, defensive 3, 65 points usually. So, and here I'm just going to hit the combinations of synergies and just want to see real quick. Now there are some C3V. It looks like there's some Ular Warlords in C3V. That I think that help with the bonding there, but yeah, I guess
that would make sense.
Yeah, with Relentless Assault from Kusamet, there is let's see here. It's just an attack bonus, I guess, with Kusamet.
If you're running Armoks and Kusamet in your army, you're not winning anyway.
I think this is going to become a theme.
Yeah, maybe in a draft tournament, I guess it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably better things to draft.
So, would you say then with the Armok Vipers, they're more of a? They're potentially good if we were given more heroes to synergize with. Hopefully, something that Renegade might produce in the future to give them like more reason to be on the game.
Yeah, obviously you would want something that they had some sort of synergy with, because, like I said, the one guy they bond with, there's no synergy there.
Mm-hmm.
His synergy is actually with other characters. So a lot of times, like if you're going to run the Warlord, you're going to run a bunch of Beanoks, right? Or maybe you're going to run some Mohicans or Thorakis and get some scout bonuses, or Aubrians to get the frenzy bonus. I guess if you have 65 points left at the end, you might put 1 squad of these in, just kind of bond with him in game or something.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, if you have 60 points left, you could just put a squad of Death Knights, or 50 points, put a squad of Romans in. So, and obviously Romans without Marcus isn't great because they don't have the movement bonus. But like I said, I think by far their best stat is their move.
For sure, yeah. No, that's that 7 spaces is no joke. let's see here. I see. Vault Nurse is saying, "Heck yeah, Vipers need more love." And also says, I imagine Wusaga as a corrupted Venom warlord or a V-neck shaman would be cool. Yeah, it's like, shout out to if anybody from Renegade watches this, do something to enhance these Vipers, because I mean, they look really cool. I know they kind of fall apart easily if you handle them too roughly, but they're a really cool looking miniature as far as aesthetics goes.
Yep.
Some people like them better than the Armox.
Mm-hmm.
These are the Armox.
The V-Nox.
Then the V-Nox, because V-Nox have 0 defense.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes those are super frustrating.
Yeah, they just do two different completely things. Though.
Yeah,
Two
it's
completely
true.
different things, so it just depends what you're
going for.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, let's dive into the lore a little bit about these guys. Let's see. It says when Aller saw visions of the Armok Vipers, he was pleased. He knew pure power, and I think I'm supposed to say ferocity, would not be enough to win the most critical battles. The role they play on Valhalla is the same role they played on Mar, which is, of course, a planet where they come from. They are the protectors of the Venak warlord. Their speed in water and advanced defensive abilities make them well-suited to work on the front lines in any of Aller's campaigns, except for the fact they don't. Too much. Although, I mean, I will give credit though for the 3 attack and the 3 defense, because that's nothing to really sniff too much about.
Yeah. I mean,
worse.
These guys are what, wave 2?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what wave these guys are?
Let's see here. Xanathar's Discovery Collection 4.
Wave 4. So you've already had the Knights come out, and you've already had the Romans come out.
Mm-hmm.
The Arrow Gruts and Blade Gruts, right? I'm trying to remember, because I think Knights are wave 3, right? And then I don't remember. Anyway, so you've already had superior bonding squads come out. So even then, they're just struggling.
No reason you would take those over.
Well, and even that bio even kind of talks like it to me, and maybe I'm not a lore guy, so I don't know, but to me it hints that maybe like they had some, front line, some sort of protective factor or something. Like it hints that maybe there was another warlord in mind somewhere.
Sure.
But from wave 4 to wave 13, that's a big.
They had time to release.
Yeah, I mean they had time to do something. Now I understand the last couple waves they're a little bit. Here are the D&D figures you got to choose from. I understand that, but like, they had some options. I mean, yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They have to. That'd be an interesting question to ask, like Craig or something.
That is a place though for Renegade to fill in, and that's one of my hopes is that they'll fill in gaps and.
I agree with this very much.
Yes.
Help figures.
Yeah, and that's very much what I would like. I would go back and like. How do we make Rock Riders better? How do we make how do we make the
Roman archers?
Well, there might not be any hope for that there. But how do we make the Armox? But yeah, but like this is the kind of stuff that I would hope Renegade would be like, hey, well, Class 6 let's improve on this. Like let's make the Armox more viable. And like I said, they're not horrible, but it's a little bit of Scottie Pippen syndrome. Like there's just so many better options.
Right. Well. Yeah, and I think that's a good message to send out. Just hope the best for the future. Vault Nurse is asking, Onyx Vipers any good? I mean, how do they differ from these? Not really much of a difference.
They're 100 points. So basically, they're fancy V-Nox. 100 points. They've got 2 defense, but they've got +8 defense from being shot at. That's it, right? That's the only bonus.
Let's see, Slither.
Yeah,
Frenzy and Evasive 8.
Yeah, no, I mean, for 100 points, like, there's just so many better options. Like,
yeah.
Because if you have 100 points left in a VNOC, a Warlord army, like, that's 2 squads of Venox, or, that's Zetacron and Thrakis, or that's...
Krav.
Yeah, Krav agents. I mean, in some aspects, they're decent counters to Krav.
I mean, 7 move with Evasive 8.
Yep, and actually 9 move with the Warlord, so...
9 move. 11 if you got the move though.
All right. Well,
13 is out next to Akalar.
Really? Yeah.
Well, I guess we can just end it there by saying Armok Vipers, they were a good idea Just still lacking, and let's hope Renegade will do something in the future so we can revisit them in the future, hopefully to where they can bond with something that might make them something worth, playing more for. And then we'll just leave it at that for now. All right, so we will move on in a second here. Hold on one moment, because I think I heard my message beeping in the. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anything having to do with me. No, I don't think so. Okay. So hold on a second. One moment. Okay, get back to this on the stream. All right. So next, what we're gonna look at now. These ones should be fun because there was some mention. Actually, I think Voltners was mentioned earlier. Gruts. So we're going to take a look at a squad of Gruts, and specifically, we're going to look at Arrow Gruts.
Oh, Arrow Gruts.
So let's see here. Arrow Gruts, of course, from Utgar. They're an Orc, common squad, archers, wild. A medium 4, beast bonding. Before taking a turn with Arrowgruts, you may first take a turn with any beast you control. They have disengage. Arrowgruts are never attacked when leaving an engagement. They have 1 life, 6 spaces, move, 6 spaces range, attack 1, defense 1. So how about these guys? When it comes to
I think Spider Poison, in my opinion, was probably the best Heroscape player ever. He won his very first Gen Con with these guys. You're like, oh, the 1/1, that's pretty horrible. And you're like, it is. 6 move, they're often gonna, 6 move is pretty good. They're gonna have height, but then the Swag Riders buff them, and they bond with the Swag Riders. They bond with Krug. Krug's an amazing figure.
Right.
They bond with Mimring. Mimring's great. And they also bond with the Ice Troll Berserkers. And the Ice Troll Berserkers are actually really strong. An attack of 5 that heals every turn is really great.
Yeah, there they are. Yeah,
they have a lot of solid options. And then the Swags would give them +1 attack and +1 defense. And then they even actually work with Nirak. Not that that's ever going to matter. I mean, you're not going to have Nirak in the same army as these guys because it's a totally different bonding.
Right.
If they have their blades. But yeah, these guys are great. One of the very few ranged bonding squads. The Mohicans, kind of, and then Greenscales, kind of. So, but the Greenscales don't shoot, but the person they bond with does. But yeah, so that's pretty unique. These guys, I think they're wave 1, right? Yeah.
They're really early.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wave 1.
Yeah, so they're wave 1. So, Krug is just classic Heroscape figure,
right.
So
absolutely.
You guys are really solid. They're a little tricky to play sometimes because you got to try and set up the swag pods, or you can try and get multiple Arrowgruts adjacent to swags and trying to put them on height. You got to kind of move your swags, but then if you're moving your swags, you're not moving Krug or Mimring or the Ice Troll. So there is some finesse to playing these guys. I could see Raylan being played with them, but I won't say that out loud to anybody. It makes some sense to me. Well, I'd argue that 3 swags might be better, but anyway, it really depends on the rest of, or even the ice. No, that'd be 85. It really kind of depends on the less of what you're doing, but yeah. So I think these are solid figures. These are very good figures.
I would agree with that. Yeah, and at 40 points, really is not too shabby for that.
I mean, not much to add to what he said. I think they're one of the most fun figures to play. Just the fact you can bond with Mimring and Krug. I mean, you can have both, however many beasts you want in your army, and you can be going back and forth. And like you said, they're a little tricky, especially with Mimring because he's got his fire line. So a little tough to use the fire line to its full effect and not shoot one of your own figures. But take some finesse setting up with swags and with Mimring and everything. But I thought about him for ScapeCon RTW a couple years ago and pretty much shot him down right away as being way too strong. But
yeah, and they're in the championship draft pool. They're in the Utgar draft pool this year. So yeah, I think there's 3 squads of them in there. But yeah, no, they're very solid unit. Yeah, like I said, I think the very first Gen Con Championship, Spider Poison won. These guys.
What did he bond with? Do you remember?
Swags and Krug and Raylan.
Swags, Krug, Raylan.
And Raylan in there too. I remember it might have been like 3-3 Krug, Raylan, but I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I really think you can't go wrong with orcs or building orc army. They are a little, like, when it comes to price range, they kind of are on the expensive side, especially like the melee gruts. And like the heavy gruts. I mean, they can get pretty expensive, but
you're talking money wise to buy.
Yeah, money. Yeah. Talking finance.
Yeah, heavy gruts especially are difficult. The blade gruts and them, I want to think those are terribly expensive, but I haven't bought either of those in a long time or looked, so I'm not sure.
And so your Vault Nurse is asking opinion on heavy gruts for just a second, because we'll cover that sometime in the future. But
I mean, yeah, heavy gruts are.
Heavy gruts, Grimnack are one of the best.
One of the best armies in the game.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with that. I got decimated a time or two ScapeCon last year with Mr. Chompy himself. So, yep, absolutely.
I wouldn't buy that necessarily. There's a eBay listing for 4 squads of arrows, 5 swags, and Krug for $230. So a little expensive. I mean, that's something that would probably turn somebody away if you were just getting into it, because you're like, oh, I'm not going to spend $230 on army. Somebody has them for $35, $37 for just a squad, $35. So looks like they're running between $35 to $40 with shipping. eBay, a squad
sounds
with the
right.
card, which isn't terrible, but I mean, that makes that combo lot actually not too bad.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to invest in, but they are fun, especially when you get Grimneck in the mix with them. You know, you just, like I said, I think you guys are right when you say you got to give it some finesse. You got to think strategically when it comes to keeping your distance as well as meleeing with these guys. Depending on if you got both like arrow and then heavy and then maybe Grimneck, and like I said, a Swag Rider or two. But I think very dependable armies, especially when getting started with the game.
I mean, you're looking at a lot of attacks every round because you're looking at,
with the bonding.
Or, you're looking at 5 attacks with Krug, then however many you can hit with Fireline.
Right, with Krug and Mingring as well, and Ice Troll Berserker. I can't wait to take a look at that. That's going to be a little while before we
Ice Troll's a very small figure. He's just overshadowed by Krug and Mingring.
Okay.
And Swag Riders, right? So by the time he came out, there's already 3 pretty established beasts for the Airgress to bond with. So.
Sure. All right. Well, how about I hop into a little bit of some of the lore, the character bio for Aerogruts. So there's Aerogruts. I mean, what can you say about orcs really that hasn't already been said in different realms of lore all over the place? But it says here, Aerogruts, the archers of the orc army, have always attended the orc cavalry, trained from a young age in the art of archery. That's a wonderful play of words there. Aerogruts are fiercely loyal to their cavalry leaders and show little concern for their own safety. While Aerogruts are not particularly good fighters or defenders, their sheer numbers and their ferocity are intimidating to the enemy and are often very effective in protecting and preserving their cavalry commanders.
I guess the one more thing, Ryan, is disengage is a big deal too. And they do
I would agree. If they got to run away, if someone's trying to melee them, then you get a chance for them to skedaddle. Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. So let's see here. And Vault Nurse says at the end here, they are cooler riding dinosaurs and mean cats. Yeah, yeah, and hopefully we see more of that in the future too. To just build on Orc Army's Renegade. Yeah, give us some more orcs. Give us some orcs riding some more stuff. That would be tons of fun for sure.
Because even that bio mentions Orc Cavalry, which we got the Orc Cavalry and the Swag Riders, but cool to get, like a squad that they also work with or had
yes. With. I agree. So that is basically Orc Gruts. And if anybody's out there's considering using orcs as far as armies when it comes to like playing casually or via championships or whatever, definitely consider these guys and check them out in Books of Heroscape. All right, so we are 3 down, and we've got about, let's see here, 20. I was thinking of going another like 10 or 20 minutes, so we might be able to do 1 or 2. And we're going to be getting into, I'm going to say fun. I was going to say special, but fun's. These units coming up, they're pretty. They're insanely valuable. I mean, it's not like they're difficult to find, but they're difficult to find. And they're interesting just to look at. And when it comes to, like, I'd say kind of historical units, you have the Ashigaru. And first we're going to, and they're very hard to pronounce too. Valtner says flying unit pterodactyls. Yes, pterodactyls on orcs would be amazing. Ashigaru Harcubus. And so this comes from, let's see here, Collection 7, Riflemen and Spearmen. And the Harcubus, I mean, they got rifles. So they're kind of like, what would we put? 4th Massachusetts, basically. But they're human, common squad. Ashigaru, discipline, medium 5. They have the ability Wait Then Fire. If none of the Ashigaru Harcubus move this turn, add 1 die to their attack. They have 1 life. They can move 5 spaces, range 6 spaces, attack 2, defense 1, 60 points. So, what do you guys think about this squad of 4?
What do you think, Ken?
I mean, they're worse 10th Regiment and 4th Mass, right? Sometimes I remember Dysel Sam saying this, and maybe it was somebody else, but their budget 4th Mass. Actually, I have no idea who said that. Maybe it wasn't even Sam. I have no idea. But anyway, budget 4th Mass. Problem is, I mean, they really, really need Raylan. I just think generally there's just better options out there. The 1 defense is so bad. I mean, Kato works with both these guys, and it's probably the only time you get 8 attacks per turn.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's Magical Christmas Land and all the stars align, but they're not really 8 good attacks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Wait Then Fire from height can be 4 attacks, maybe 4 dice, which is really good. But it's just like they died. Like if you sneeze on these guys, they die. 1
defensive 1.
It's just really bad. What would be interesting is if we got these guys before we got the 4th Mass and 10th Reg, and see what our opinion was of them at that point.
Yeah.
Because when we're like, well, they're just worse 4th Mass and worse 10th Regiment. Granted, they're cheaper. Just like, I don't know. I don't. There are 4 attacks of 2 from range 6. That's not bad. Just better options out there. Like I'd put them C+, B-, range probably. I mean, they're not. Range 6. Range 6 is pretty weak from because 5 move melee can engage them the next turn, and they only have 1 defense, so they're going to fold pretty easily. But 4 attacks of 2 from range is not bad. 4 attacks of 2 or 3 from height is not bad.
But like you said, there's better options. I mean, what is the points for the 4th Regiment?
70.
The what?
70 points.
70. Okay, so they are slightly cheaper. I don't know if that really means anything when it comes to points.
Right. I mean, they are a bit cheaper, but like, so if you had 350 points, you can get 5 squads of 4th Mass, or 5 squads of these guys plus a 50-point figure, right? Or like Morrow Warriors or something. Like you're going to do 5 squads of 4th Mass, right? Or you do 4 squads of these guys plus Raylan, and then 30 points for Guilty McCreech or something. I don't know. I still think the 5 squads of 4th Mass are better.
I think I would agree, and also just for the fact that the Ashigaru, even though I mean, like aesthetically, they're fun. I mean, they're fun to look at. They're fun to have. They're I mean, but like the fourth mass, they are historical units. I think the one big difficulty for people, like why I would suggest fourth mass over them as well, is because fourth mass are cheaper. Like as far as like money wise to get, these are kind of rare finds.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, they are.
They are
Why?
rare finds, and they are expensive when you try to get them.
All right, guys, save your money. You don't need to buy these.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
The only
But yeah, if you can get enough of them, and you are doing a big enough point game and a big enough unit game, you know,
Kato.
they could be decent with Kato because, like you said, 8 activations a turn.
8 attacks.
Yeah, not just activations. 8 attacks a turn, of at least 2. Yeah. 3 if 3 or 4. So you could end up be rolling, a lot of dice if it's lined up right. But like I said, it's hard to do because I've only ended up with 1 of each, so I'm not sure I've ever played with them. Just because, like I said, they're a stupid hard unit to get a hold of. I was gonna type into eBay and see what they're going for.
I've been very lucky over the years to acquire some to animate with, and that was fun. But yes, I've never really played. Of course, I could say that with about 80% of the stuff I have gotten, just because stop motion animation. That's usually what I do. But yeah, I would agree that fourth mass would definitely probably be better. Even though, I mean, if you're looking for a collector though, collecting, and you want them, and if fourth mass just isn't an option, I mean, okay, then great. I mean, they are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, you're looking at 55 to 60 a squad, and you're going to want 2 to 3 of each one,
at least,
plus Kato, so you're talking several $100 just to field an army.
10th regiment.
It's pricey.
Fourth mass, like it's just not. Yeah.
There. Let me get into some of the lore on these guys. Let's see here. Character bot says as the let's see here. And Vault Nurse. Yeah, we're gonna get into this. Vault Nurse is talking about something that we'll get into actually in a second because we're gonna do 2 Ashigarus for the price of 1 tonight, people. So just wait one moment. Let's see. Our character bio says as the Ashigaru Yari was the main force in group combat, the Ashigaru Harquebus was the prime choice of warfare. Taking an untrained soldier and handing him a Harquebus required a very little training. All that was required was to teach him to load and to shoot the Harquebus while holding his position. An army of Ashigaru Harquebus could fire a wall of lead, smashing the largest cavalry charge and reducing it to a mere pittance. The Harquebus revolutionized the way battles were fought. No longer was there a need to face your enemy, to look him in the eye before bringing him to his demise. Charging samurai cavalry once the heart of a daimyo's army could be very decimated by their faceless army of low-class warriors. To Einar, this was a perfect complement to the rest of his army. On Valhalla, the Ashigaru Harquebus are similarly altering the face of warfare. Well, at least the face of people's checkbooks, if they ever acquire these guys. But yeah,
it's interesting. They're saying this was a perfect for Einar. Einar already has 10th regiment.
Yeah, of the foot. Yeah, right.
Like, so I don't know. Like, what are they adding to Einar? Like, I mean, I that doesn't make any sense to me. You've already got the 10th reg that basically, Anyway,
I think it's another hope that in the future, even though, like I said, these would be hard to get, maybe do, like, if Renegade is watching again, maybe do, like, a revision of these, so it's like a cheaper get, and then add more, like to the bonding to give these guys a reason to be out in the battlefield to face the likes of others. But yeah, like synergies, like is a handful. You got Sacred Band, you got Kato, And like only for C3V there isn't much either. You got Count Raymond, and that's just for like maneuverability, I think. Yeah, and that's that. So, I mean, if you're a collector and you're looking to get these and you find them on the cheap, good for you, because I did that in the years past. But I mean, yeah, fourth reg I think is definitely a better option. But irregardless. Still fun to look at these guys. But that is the Ashigaro Harcubus. Have fun trying to pronounce the name. And Valtner says, hit me up if you find them on the cheap. It's really difficult. It literally takes years, but definitely keep it in mind, Valtner. Thanks very much. All right, so now, how about we move on, and this will probably be the last one we do tonight. The Ashigaru Yari. These are spearmen. Okay, so human, common squad, Ashigaru discipline, medium 5. Of course, Einar is the general. Encircle special attack. Range 1, attack 6. If 3 Ashigaru Yari you control are adjacent to the same enemy figure, they may roll their attack dice as one combined attack. The defending figure compares height to the lowest Ashigaru Yari to determine any height advantage. If Encircle Special Attack is used, the fourth figure that moved this turn cannot attack. So 1 life, move 5 spaces, range 1, attack 2 dice, defense 1, 40 points. So, I mean, it's a low point level. So thoughts on these guys?
They're pretty bad. They have a better version of the zombies Encircle or whatever.
That's what I was thinking too. Like I know zombies do kind of basically the same thing, and you can bring them back to life.
It is slightly better. What's interesting is, when Encircle Special Attack is used, the fourth figure that moved this turn cannot attack. Mm-hmm. Instead of one of the 4 figures that you moved this turn cannot attack, it has to be the fourth figure that you moved this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really bad writing, in my opinion. But anyway, moving on. Instead of saying one of the 4 figures, the fourth figure.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You'd have to. So technically, if you're following the rules exactly,
you'd have to move the 3 first, and then the 4.
Yeah, you'd have to pay attention to how you're moving your figures.
Most places are pretty casual, and
most players aren't going to care about that.
But yeah, I mean, 2 attack, 1 defense for a melee unit, really bad. The only thing these guys have going for them is they're 10 points each.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Kato can do some shenanigans with the Yarrow and the Harks, so you can get 8 attacks per turn in magical Christmas land. Overall, they're just bad. Like, 1 defense is so bad on a melee squad. Like, so bad on a melee squad. Like, this is better than 0 for the Vinghawks. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these are bad. These are like, you're looking at D minus F range units. They're really bad.
Let's see here, and this is one thing Valtner said earlier. All my Ashigaru and talking about the Yari have droopy spears. Yeah, when it comes, I think from what I have, some of the spears kind of get droopy a bit.
I've got like 4 or 5 squads, and some of the spears are broken off, and it's just, they're not. I mean, the good news is I'm never going to play them because they're pretty garbage, so I don't really care. But
what's interesting is that in Delta, the Harcubus actually went up 5 points.
Seriously,
and Kari went down 5 points.
Did Kato go down?
I'll look up what Kato did.
And again, when it comes to cost, when it comes to like dollar value, these guys are very still expensive. It's just like. Again, like you said, I mean, when it comes to aesthetics, or if you really want to collect, okay, search for them. But as far as gameplay, I mean, zombies are still expensive, but they're a bit better.
Went down 40 points.
Let me see here. When it comes to synergies again, but it's just like the Harcubus. Kato, Sacred Band, and not much customs. Yeah, Voltner says Wave 6 figures I felt were more expensive while I was collecting. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know what it is with these guys. Maybe it's just the point value. Maybe it is the, historical significance for them. I mean, I felt lucky when I got them for, kind of like a special deal. But yeah, I mean, it's just not much to go on. Again, it's like, hopefully it's something that a Renegade can build on in the future with some of these miniatures that aren't as valuable without the proper like bonding and such. How about I go into, let's do the character bio for these as well. Let's see, all throughout the feudal period of Japan, there have been a place for the lowest class warrior, the Ashigaru, on the battlefield. Despite the lack of fighting skills such as samurais, the Ashigaru was nevertheless an important part of the overall battlefield strategy, overcoming more skilled opposition with sheer numbers. The Ashigaru became a central force in group combat, forming the backbone of the army. The Ashigaru Yari were light-foot soldiers outfitted with typical conical helmets, minimal armor, and spears. Their level of training varied, but a good army of Ashigaru would hold their ranks and provide the needed support on the battlefield. It is this discipline that Einar sought in the Ashigaru Yari to support his warriors and battlefield strategy. Even on Valhalla, the Ashigaru have a place to fight among the most powerful warriors ever assembled by Einar. Now, actually, and I just had a thought. Would it be possible that they would be kind of like a formidable army if you had, like, say, like 3 or 4 squads of them? Would numbers make a difference? I know that's very expensive, but would numbers make a difference at all?
One defense is horrible in melee. It's not going to cut it. You're going to die every time somebody attacks you.
Okay. Yeah. When it comes to the numbers, all right.
Because you figure they're the same price as Death Reavers, and Death Reavers got 4 defense.
And Death Reavers will kill them with 1 attack.
This is true. Yep. Yeah, defensive 1 kind of kills it. All right. Well, again, this is kind of a downer for these guys, but again, valuable in, like, when it comes to money. But when it comes to championships, not as valuable. But that's the Ashigaru Yari. Taking a look at these squads and heroes. All right. Well, you know what? I was kind of going to end it at that, but I don't want to end on a downer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a couple of heroes and squads ahead of the list, and let's do. How about we do axe grinders? You want to do axe grinders to finish it out?
It's a fun one.
I think that's a fun one. So how about we take a look at those guys?
I mean, they're expensive.
They are expensive, but unlike others that we talked about, they are almost as expensive. Actually, these would probably be more expensive because they're probably a little bit more useful. These are a lot of fun, and they have like other dwarves to match with, whether it be classic or C3V. So let's just dive into these guys. This will be our last one. The Axe Grinders of Burning Forge. Dwarves, and of course Aquila is their general. Common squad. Fighters, fearless, small, 3. They have, let's see, your special abilities are Dwarven Strategic Bonding. Before taking a turn with the Axe Grinders of Burning Forge, you may first take a turn with any dwarf hero you control. If you do not take a turn with any dwarf hero you control, add 2 to the Axe Grinder's move number. Fearless Advantage is another ability. An Axe Grinder of Burning Forge rolls an additional die when attacking or defending against large or huge figures. Climb ×2. When moving up or down levels of terrain, the Axe Grinders of Burning Forge may double their height, have 1 life, move 4 spaces, range 1, attack 3, defense 3, 70 points. Now I saw these guys, 1 or 2 armies of these ScapeCon last year, so people have used them. What are you guys' thoughts on these?
They're great. I mean, they're what, maybe top 3, 4 melee, best melee armies?
I'd say number 3.
I mean, you guys discussed them to no end early in some CoV episodes.
Okay.
I mean, they're one of the few units that give you a bonus for not bonding, which is great because then you're either bonding or you're getting 6 moved dwarves. Fearless Advantage is great because there's always lots of dragons and
Q9.
big figures out the Q9. Climb ×2. Most tournament maps, you're not going to need that. Most times, you're not going to have a height of 6 that you're coming up against.
Well, 4. 4? Yeah.
Well, they can double their height.
Right, but I mean, they can normally do 3.
Oh, sure, yeah. So the climb ×2 is not really going to be a thing in most tournament maps. But yeah, I mean, they're great. I mean, 6. That's what you ran today, right?
Right, yeah, I actually ran these today in the tournament I was in. I ran 3 squads of them without any heroes.
3 squads of axe grinders?
Part of it was the format, right? I can only put 210 points into any general. But I was thinking I was going to see a bunch of dragons and Q9s and not Q9s, Q10s, and I ran into 1 dragon and 1 Q10. So, and they tear apart dragons in Soulborn. They tear apart the big units. They're 4/4s with 6 move. They can hold their own against other things. They're not amazing. Like the orcs, the heavies, and the knights are better against other things, but against the large and huge, they just, My daughter had Nilfheim in the tournament, and I played her in like round 2 or 3, and I just tore her apart because they're just so good against dragons.
Oh yeah, and they're common squads. So yeah, you can definitely pile them on. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, Voltner says I only have 2. And hey, Joe Crazy. Okay, there's a reason why Joe Crazy isn't live with us tonight is because he's driving back from Maryland and he's got an hour drive left. Joe, it's okay, sir. We're having fun going through this stuff. You're fine. You just drive safe. I'm sure you had a blast there at the Maryland event. You just take care. If you want to listen to us, feel free to comment. And see, a Rogue Idealist says, I love it when the axe grinders take down Juton. And Voltner says, I only have 2 squads. I only have 1, but yeah, I guess the only downside is they are like expensive when it comes to purchasing them.
Yes.
I mean,
I think they're about $100 a squad, I think.
I think better option probably would be 3D printed and then just paint them, or just 3D printed for proxies. Probably would be a better bet to use them. But yeah, I would say that
these are A minimally A rankings. Very good, very good. All 3 heroes they bond with are very good.
Let's get the bonding here. Yeah,
Meagle Iron Will is probably the weakest hero they bond with, and he's still very good.
Derek, Meagle, Morgrim, and there's even some like synergies with C3V. There's a few with them, but it's
go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's cool to say, Ken, when you say that you take 3 squads and then you just totally decimate an army with just 3 squads of them. That would be fun. I mean, I never considered playing them for ScapeCon, but I just might. I know there's ways, like, I know last year for ScapeCon, someone might have had 1 army's worth of them or something, and they didn't work out like they planned, but then again, I don't remember who they were up against either.
I took ScapeCon 1, a main event. I did 2 squads and Meagle, and then a bunch of other stuff, but the 2 squads and Meagle was the bulk of my army. And I mean, that works great because you can, first turn you can move up 4 and Meagle, and then the second turn you don't bond and you can move the rest of them up and get them ahead. So with the strategic bonding, it allows you to keep them all together easier than some other units allow you to.
It gives you choices.
Yeah. And it gives you so many choices, because then if you don't bond, like you said, then you get the 2 extra move. And, like I said, again, another very thematic army. It's a fun one if you want to play dwarves.
They're good looking too.
Love dwarven units. They're probably my favorite in the game, but I've only ever ended up with 2 because they're $100 a squad.
Right. I get it. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for, and the dwarves are just, I mean, they look fun. They play fun. I mean, and again, there is 3D printed options for these. So let's see here. Okay, and we got a comment here on YouTube. Wayne, I think it was first time commenting. Wayne Kotzer, I think, is the last name. Hello, Wayne. Was asking a quick question. Which Delta price point list is current or correct? I asked Delta Classic or Delta VC. Would any of you guys know that question?
It just depends what you're playing with.
Depends what you're playing. Okay.
As far as I know, sorry, go ahead.
Heroscape.org, man. Chris Perkins does an amazing job keeping that bad boy up. That army builder, he's like.
Yep.
I don't know what that
there
dude,
it is, right here.
I don't know what his job is, but he puts I said, hey man, can we have because we're doing an Age of Rebirth for Annihilation for ScapeCon. We're using Age of Rebirth or Age of Annihilation figures that were released.
Right.
I said, hey Chris, man, you should put that in your builder. He's like, okay. And he did it. I'm just like, come on, he's just that guy. Got some dedication. Every time anybody sees that guy, they should thank him for what he does for Heroscape.org. But he's got that Delta on there, so you can choose Classic, you can choose VC, Delta. Classic or VC, Delta or normal. So it's all on there. That's all up to date. It depends what tournament depends what you're playing in. If you're playing in Classic only, then you use Classic Delta. If you're playing in VC, you use VC Delta. Yeah.
And I already have the screen up here, so I'm actually showing it to the audience right now. It's Heroscape.org, the builder section. It's right there. And yes, I would definitely agree with you guys that Chris did a great job with this website. That
man should not have to buy any drinks at ScapeCon 3 because somebody should buy him one every night.
Agreed.
Not gonna be me, I'm poor, but somebody else.
Agree. I know I faced against him twice last year, and he is not only is he great with setting up the website. He is an amazing player. Yeah, he's a very good player. So for sure. But when it comes to wrapping up with the axe grinders, definitely I would say if you want to get them, if you love dwarves and you want to eventually collect them, it wouldn't be not too bad of an idea for armies for championships or events. Definitely look into them, I would say.
Very versatile, like you said. I mean, they're good on their own, but then face large figures, they're even better. Yeah,
like out of all the melee bonding squads, they're not like with heavies and knights, but their matchups against majors and the dragons are better than heavies and knights. So they're a little bit matchup dependent, but they do fine in other things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They will definitely win those battles for sure.
For sure.
And then and then there is some of the extra strategy to them for when you bond, when you don't.
Sure. Yeah, but like one of the games I played today, she had Q10, and another one they had Nilfheim. I was like, perfect.
Yeah. It's also a squad where if you got the move glyph on the board, you generally really want the move glyph.
8 move dwarves.
Because you either got 6 move bonding dwarves or you got 8 move dwarves.
8 move dwarves, which are so hard to play against.
Which are crazy.
Yeah, so hard to play against.
And Rogue Idealist says, and I'll end it with this. It says they're easy to print and paint if their actual cost is off-putting. I have about 4 squads painted at this point. So yeah, really, I mean, and there's great 3D printers who print and they have their websites. I mean, and I've shown those links in different videos before to where they probably have printed them, or you can look on Etsy or whatever. And find them if you're not so much into 3D printing. But yeah, definitely consider getting these guys, whether in 3D printed proxy form or the actual miniatures themselves, and build yourself a great dwarf army.
This is a squad that stinks we don't have Jeremy on, because these are one of them that didn't get an official bio, but I don't know if Jeremy ever wrote anything for it.
That's one thing I'll end with. I mean, we're going to be talking about other dwarves in the future, so I'm sure we'll go back to axe grinders and discuss. But yeah, there's no lore in the bio, so no lore in this segment. But I'm sure when Jeremy comes on in the future, he will go lore crazy on these dwarves. So we'll just have that as an asterisk there. Just boom. All right, just go to the next dwarf video that pops up in the future. All right, so that is looking at, so that was rapid fire round. That was the first time we ever done that ToV podcast, and I think that was fun to look through some miniatures. But how about we get to the next segment, the main segment, which will be talking about ScapeCon 3, and I think, Paul, you had some ideas when it comes to that. Basically talking about the events coming up, and let's see here, I do I gotta pull them up. But when it comes to, like, I'm only gonna be there Wednesday or Thursday, and I know you said you were talking about some events, and I do have let's see, I got the website pulled up for this.
Do you know which events you're going to do Wednesday, Thursday? Because if there's...
Yes.
We don't have too much longer. We'll have to jet out here within 20 or so.
Okay.
But so is there any on, like I said, Wednesday or Thursday that you're doing that we could get into?
Well, when it comes to Thursday, getting started in the morning, the Delta rule of 12 was, I mean, because there's really not much. I mean, Wednesday has three-headed Hydra, and then Thursday during the day has Delta, and I was thinking in the afternoon doing like the VC Bring 2, as well as like some of the coaching in the evening.
The three-headed Hydra one?
I mean,
we'll discuss that.
Let's talk about that one, the three-headed Hydra.
Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit.
That's the one you're doing. It sounds like that's the one he'll be doing. So.
That's was it 480 points, 18
right.
figures,
and that's Delta points.
That's Delta, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting. So, have you played three-headed Hydra before, Ryan?
No, and this is this is actually I have some questions on it too. But go ahead and explain.
I haven't either.
Okay.
I did it both years, so
I just I listened to Mike's description and all that stuff about it. But so it's interesting because you're playing 3 one-on-one matches, but you win or lose on whether or not your team wins the majority of those matches, right? So if you, me, and Paul are on a team, and you and me win, and Paul loses, we still win that round, right? And my understanding is the way it works is there's a D20. I'm not sure if you have a chance. You have to pick, or can you defer?
Let's see. One player high roll chooses to be team A or team B.
So the choices are. So if you, me, and Ryan are playing against, I don't know,
Joe, Jeremy, and Jason. Let's just put it that way.
Jeremy, Jason, and Joe Crazy. We're playing against Triple J.
Exactly.
Let's say we win the roll, so we either get to pick whether we get to say, hey, I'm going to say that Joe cannot play Ryan. Okay? Let's say you have an army, let's say you have Fourth Mass, and he's got Phantom Knights. We don't want you to play that army against him, right? Because that's a horrible matchup for you. But then they get to pick all 3 matchups. They can then say, okay, well, Ryan, you got to play your Fourth Mass against Knights of Weston. That so and so's that one of the 3 J's are running, right? And then they get to say, okay, Paul, you're going to play your Mohicans against whatever, and then Ken, you're going to play your 22 Chain Fighters against whatever, right? And then we would then get to pick the maps. I say, okay, well, if I'm playing 22 Chain Fighters, I'm going to pick a dungeon. I'm going to pick this dungeon map to play on.
Yep.
And then you're going to say, you know what, my Phantom Knights do really well on this map, so we're going to play that match on this map. And then then the third one gets to pick as well. So that's the way it works. And I'm not exactly sure, which I think I was talking to a couple of my teammates, and I'm not sure exactly if it's better to ban or if it's better. I think A is slightly better because you get to ban and you get to pick the maps. I think it's slightly better, though I could probably be convinced pretty easily that it's better to set all the matchups. Like, if I had to vote today, I would say A is better, but I'm not sure it actually is. Because every time I think about it, I get less sure that A is better, if that makes sense. When it comes to the three-headed Hydra, what's interesting, I think, in that is, are you trying to play paper, rock, scissors, or are you just trying to do like what you're good at? And like, obviously, I'm good at melee. So should I take a melee army, or should I take paper, and my opponent and my teammate take rock, and my other teammate take scissors? And like a good example would be Phantom Knights, Fourth Mass, melee bonding. Fourth Mass, think can beat melee bonding. Not against me, but other people maybe. Phantom Knights can beat the fourth mass, and the melee bonding can beat the Phantom Knights, right? So like, do you do that, or do I say, let's say Paul's really good with dwarves, I'm really good with heavies. Does he just take his dwarves and I take the heavies, and our other teammate, let's say they're really good with, I don't know, rats, so they take some sort of rat podge. We just do what we're good at and try to smooth out the matchups we play against, or do we say like, okay, Paul's going to take Phantom Knights, I'm going to take fourth mass, and our other teammate's going to take I don't know, 4 squads or whatever bonding, melee, and a hero or whatever. So it's interesting trying to choose which one of those you're going to do, and then also I think a lot of it is trying to decide the matchups, like what matchup do you ban? If Paul's got 2 bad matchups, I bother banning one of those matchups against Paul
because he's going to
get another bad matchup anyway, or do I make sure that the one bad matchup I have, I just make sure I don't play that, so I'm guaranteed to win. I'm hoping my other teammate get a win. That way we can eat Paul's loss. So it's a little bit more than just, hey, I'm going to play 5 squads of fourth mass. It's a little bit more than that. Because I like fourth mass and I'm good with them or whatever. Or 6 squads of Phantom Knights or whatever it is. And then with the Delta points, it makes everything a little bit weirder. Not my favorite, but it is what it is. So
it's competition for you.
Not being Delta, I did a couple Delta tournaments last year at ScapeCon, so I'm a little familiar with it, though I'm sure the numbers have changed. But yeah, it's a whole other way to think about it, because the typical best armies aren't going to be there anymore necessarily.
Or they'll be neutered.
But I think A is probably, let's see, what was I thinking? I think B is better if you have 4 or 3 good kind of boring armies that are going to be good into most everything. Whereas A might be better if you've got more niche armies.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting, and then talking because I don't think you can share figures, right? So we can't all run Raylan.
No figures may be used in more than one army.
So we can't all run Raylan, but
right.
Not that anyone could run Raylan, but it's been interesting. So you got to work out with your teammates, like, hey, I want to run 22 chain fighters, and then all my teammates say no, Ken, and I'm like, no, we'll go home.
Take my dice and go home.
Yeah, so, and actually, I think chain fighters only 20 points in Delta, so I could probably get 24 of those.
I can look.
24, but there's only 18 figure limit, so.
No, I got a question. So when it says no figures may be used in more than one army, does that mean between all 3 of you, 3 of us teammates?
Because you're using the same army every time.
Correct. Yeah. So if I run stingers, which I never would, but if I did, that means Paul can't run stingers.
Okay. Yeah. So you'd have to have your own separate, unique armies. You can't have the same stuff. Basically.
Right. So and even with filler units, right? We can't all run Marku. We can't all run Osamu. And I think the filler units are differently priced in Delta anyway. But yes. So yeah. So it's been very interesting to try and sort that format out. I think I have my army ready to go. My 2 teammates are still sorting out what they want to do.
Well, I got nothing ready to go. I have.
Yeah, you got time though. You got 2 months.
I got 2 weeks because I'm out of the country.
No plan. You can still think about it when you're.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be strategizing and thinking, okay, what I'm gonna build here but I mean, most everything before I leave is already gonna be ready to go because I'm literally coming home and then taking off to Indianapolis. That's pretty much gonna be that much of a turn.
And once again, Chris Perkins' software, you can actually click on
exactly.
Headed Hydra, and then it gives you the parameters of your build right there. I'm not sure exactly how you click.
I can't wait to start using Heroscape.org this week for that purpose.
Yeah. So it'll show you 40 points left, 12 figures left as you're building your army on
Nice.
there, which is
that's cool.
Like I said, very cool. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts on three-headed Hydra.
It's a fun format. It's like I said, it's a little confusing when someone's explaining it to you, but once you sit down at the table after the first game, it clicks.
I'd be like,
It
someone
clicks
just
real
guide me through it, please. I'll bring an army and just have me
Like,
fight
it is-
somebody.
Once you do it, once you've done it once, and I'm sure Mike in the first round, they'll walk everybody through it, and still have questions. But like I said, it makes sense once you do it once.
For sure.
But yeah, it's usually been the Sunday event, but they're doing it the first day. I think they got rid of multiplayer madness just because those
Different maps.
Crazy
the maps
stuff.
were big and took up a lot of room and stuff. So makes sense. But yeah, it's a fun format. Yeah.
All right. How about, before we hop into, let's see here, because I was going to say Delta Rule of 12. Was there anything that you guys wanted to mention other days? Just because I'm not showing up for the rest of the days doesn't mean we can't talk about something else that might be interesting. Was there anything that stands out to you that you want to bring up?
An easy one to talk about quick, and this will be probably the last thing for me, unless Ken wants to hang out in my garage for a while by himself. He might steal all my Heroscape though, so I don't know if I'll
No,
do that. Might just steal my dwarf. Assassin's Creed Heat of Battle is a cool format.
Okay, yeah, that stood out to me a little bit here. Let me get to that one here.
It's not one I think I've ever played myself, either format, but it's cool that they're combining them. It's just one that it's a format there's definitely a lot of thinking you can put into it because you got to have at least 3 unique heroes that can be designated as your targets. And your opponent picks one of those as their target, and if they eliminate that figure, they win the game. And then same. So your opponent has to have, at least 3. So maybe Raylan, Isamu, and Meagle Ironwill. And you pick one of those to be your target. You might pick Isamu, and then if you take out Isamu, you win. Even if he's got his entire rest of the army left, and you've got 1 figure left, if you take out Isamu, you win. So there's a lot of thinking to go into, and you know which target they've picked, so they tell you. But there's just so much thinking that you can put into what units you use, and then how you play that unit once you know that that's the target. But
It's almost like capture the flag, only you're killing a miniature.
Yeah, I played Heat of the Battle, and I played Assassin's Creed. Not a big Heat of the Battle fan because that's, to me, a lot of it's just a dice fest, and that's just I like more strategy than dice fest in Heroscape. But just looking at this format, the first things I would think about are Romans, because Romans bond with warlords, and you can choose 3 different warlords to be your 3 heroes, and then Romans are probably pretty decent in Heat of the Battle too.
Sure. Yeah.
So that would be one time I played Heat of the Battle. I was Romans years ago, and I mind shackled 2 Silver Surfers in that tournament, and that was amazing. And I mind shackled a Hydra. So not the same game, same tournament. Well, 3 different games. But it's not something I'm personally interested in playing, but it does seem very cool. I agree. It does seem very cool.
It seems like fun, and like I said, there's a lot of activities. I mean, everybody, if you listen to this, go to heroscapers.com, go to the ScapeCon 3, and that would be under. Let's see, where is that? That would be under like forums. Just look up events, and you'll find everything about ScapeCon 3 there. Links to Heroscape.org as well as others, the events. There's still some spots open, I think. So, I mean, contact Mike, get a hold, and try to make your way there. And before I let you guys go, because I wanted to just take a look real quick at the maps, and I don't know if you guys have studied these maps for EscapeCon 3, but just give me your guys' favorite map out of the bunch. Yeah, because I can name them.
I haven't really looked at them. So
haven't really looked
this is all you.
Okay.
Can I see a list somewhere?
I feel about it.
I'll tell you, my least favorite one is the ice one with the jungle Big of Bullfrogs, like April 44th or something, and I don't remember the name of it.
Okay, okay, let's go down. That one kind of stood out to me too a little bit. Let's see, let me get to it real quick.
I mean, the one we got in front of us, I'm sure, is one.
Oh, is this one of the ScapeCon maps?
This is the one you told me to build.
Oh, it must be a ScapeCon map. All right, this must be a ScapeCon map.
This is Ascension.
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 Like it's my favorite.
Okay.
But there
we go.
Sure.
Maps and glyphs.
Let me see.
We got Nightfall.
Nightfall. I played on Nightfall. That was fine.
Origin's a great map.
It's all right.
It's a great basic map because it only takes.
Oh, Dark Fulcrum. Dark Fulcrum by far. Dark Fulcrum. It's one of my. I love that map. I've been playing a bunch of that at home.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Second.
Yeah, Healing Waters is okay. August 2nd is okay. April 9th, not a fan. The Hydra, I've just played on a couple times too lately, and that one's been okay too. But by far, Dark Fulcrum. Yeah, I really like Dark Fulcrum.
Yeah, I think aesthetically, I mean, at least there isn't like a burning like lava field like there was last year. That's what I was afraid of. But I think I like Nightfall a lot myself as well. Very interesting map. And then, I mean, the plainest map is, let's see, Origin. That one I know I'm going to probably set up this week, and it's probably how I'm going to introduce my son into playing the game because it's simple enough.
It's a great simple map. I think it's just one Rise of the Valkyrie set, so it's basically anybody can build it, which is any good tournament map that only takes one Rise of the Valkyrie. They're the best ones because then everybody can build them. Easier for the map makers and TDs and everything.
Yep, like Common Ground's still a great map.
Common Ground's a great map.
Absolutely. So again,
Aeon's one, but that also takes a road, I think. But.
So again,
all right. Yeah, we should probably.
Yeah,
I should probably head off. My wife texted me that my kid's waking up. So
okay.
Go,
so what I'll do is I'll wrap up the stream. So I mean, normally we do a lot of other things, but I'm just gonna wrap it up tonight. Just real quick, thank you guys for joining me tonight to discuss ScapeCon, to go through some rapid fire rounds of looking at some units, whether they be poor or well used. I appreciate you guys' insight and knowledge into Heroscape and these miniatures and stuff, and into ScapeCon as well. Hope to see and can't wait to see you guys come August. And for all of you listening, be it the Audiosphere, YouTube, or whatever, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for everybody who's commented in the comment section. This is the last ToV podcast for a few months until August 20th. And come August 20th, feel free, like I said, comment, subscribe to Tales of Valhalla YouTube and the last 3 episodes of Tales of Valhalla Season 3. Because there are going to be some prizes. There are going to be some units and army, Maro, Zute, as well as Ice Elemental. Check those out if you want to you enter your name, and we'll do a prize drawing come August 20th for the next ToV podcast time. But until then, I hope everybody has a great summertime. I certainly know I'm going to be relaxing. And definitely have a lot of fun things coming in store in the second half of this year. But until that time, you have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye now.